What's up, AfterBuzzers? Shonda Land has a new show, and we've been counting down to talk about it. This is the For the People After Show. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Right? That's how we do it. Start off nice and easy.
You like a boss?
A little smooth, a little bit, you know. Been a boss, so we can take it. We can take it. We can take it. Okay. What's up, AfterBuzz TV? I am Keith Andre, and we are so excited to finally get the chance to talk about For the People. It's Shonda Land's new show. You may remember me and some of our others here from the Shonda Land panel. Yeah. But let's get started. This is my lovely panel of ladies. So excited to see you all.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited to be back with you, Keith.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Marie?
Yes, I'm excited as well. So I thought I was going to miss you guys, but I don't have to miss you because you're here.
Not anymore.
And we have a new face to join us.
New face on the panel, Takira Shabrae. Hello, everyone. But I'm still excited, though.
Oh,
We're excited to have you.
Vibe, new show, so it all mixes.
It's going to be a good time. The music is the precedent for our season, I think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the pilot episode?
It was cool.
Okay.
It was the pilot. Mm-hmm. The pilot's always a little shaky.
Yeah.
It could go left or right.
Right.
And I like it. I definitely want to continue to watch the rest of this season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure where my heart is, though. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see.
I kind of feel the same way. I'm like, okay, I know that I liked it enough to continue watching, even if I wasn't on the panel. Still continue to watch the show, but it didn't totally grab me like, oh my God, I'm hooked right away.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how they develop these characters, where these characters go. So, yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
It was very Shonda.
Yeah.
It was, I hope, like we were kind of talking a little earlier, I hope that it kind of makes a turn that we can't really predict just yet.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just step into, while I do love her, I kind of want a little something different. But I like it. Same as kind of same.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair, and I think we'll get the chance to kind of see the difference, hopefully. We'll talk about all of that later. We'll get into gossip, news, predictions, and all of that. But to start, I definitely wanted to kind of just break down the show a little bit. I think especially coming from the Shonda Land panel, I feel like we've been following her, and on that show, we had to talk about everything that she was doing. So to get immersed back into a project, it's easy to feel like it's super familiar, or with the pilot, like how do I face this and how am I going to feel about this season?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Did you guys find it difficult kind of getting through the first episode, or were you able to just take it all in and enjoy it at least?
No,
I didn't find it difficult.
Yeah, no, not difficult at all. No.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I think kind of like what Elle Marie said, I just wanted it to be a little more captivating, because I feel like that's what Grey's Anatomy did for me. That's what Scandal did for me. That's what How to Get Away with Murder did for me, and I'm behind.
Right.
So
still behind.
Right. And so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think it could be interesting. I don't know if they did that with intention, only to try to find a way to separate, but I do want to spend some time just talking about the comparisons to those, Shonda Land shows, because I feel like watching the episode, you kind of didn't have a choice but to kind of place characters with familiar faces that you already have in your head.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's what I did with Grey's Anatomy. That's so funny that you brought that up, because I did that instantly, like when I watched, not even trying to. And I feel like people naturally do that, like over time, but like this episode, I was like, oh, you're Miranda Bailey, you're just not me. Alex Perez.
Right.
Okay, like it's definitely a Shonda show, like you said.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, I think that's a natural reaction. I will say we know that Shonda's just producing the show, so she's not writing it.
Right.
It's written and created by Paul William Davies. So
who was an attorney, I believe.
I thought that was super interesting.
That was really nice.
It's such a good point, because so many times you have somebody writing something or about a show that doesn't necessarily know everything about, like from experience. They're kind of just gathering. So I think this is beautiful combo of someone that can speak from experience from being a lawyer, and then someone that can speak from experience from having amazing popular shows.
Okay.
So, you know, it's the perfect teamwork.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's fair for sure, especially because I feel that comparing it to like other law shows or law drama show, for me, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I've wanted to be a lawyer back in the day. I used to watch Matlock, and then I still watch Judge Judy, The People's Court.
Right.
So anytime
Judge
like it's a
Mathis.
law show, right, I want to like get involved.
Right.
But I do feel that it is different. I mean, we still have to juggle and figure out if it's a good different or if it's a bad different or if it's just because it's indifferent.
Yeah.
But it is a difference from like those shows. It doesn't relate to How to Get Away with Murder. I feel like the
doesn't.
scandal
It doesn't,
factor
Right.
isn't there. So it's
Just yet.
definitely setting itself on its own course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
I agree with you 100%. I don't know if I kind of want it to relate to a law show because, like you said, you say used to. I'm still interested in law.
Me too.
Don't know
say
when I'm
used
going
to
to
'cause
law
I'm
school,
30.
but I'm still interested in law. It still captivates me, and, and I'm not gonna lie. Even watching the pilot, I was like, oh, maybe I really need to go work on my LSAT.
Right. Child.
But then it ended, and I was like, all right, back to my regular life.
Exactly. Let's go
regular
back
life.
to what I'm used to. But I did notice, you know, with the other Shondaland shows, even with Grey's Anatomy, there was a bit of a punch kind of factor into them where it was either risque or I don't know. But I feel like that piece, I'm fine with it being missing for now, but I am hoping that they have ways to kind
that
of
they bring it in
discover it. Yeah.
Right.
But so watching the episode, I want to talk a bit about the cast. So far for you guys, who do you like agree with? Who's your favorite character? I think that's always pretty interesting about pilots.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was about to say I love Kate Littlejohn. Kate.
Yes.
She is only because she reminds me of me, and I hope that she changes or like grows. I'm really interested in seeing her development because she's a perfectionist. She's very strategic. She's like, no, I have my business life and I have my personal life. They cannot touch. And I'm really like that. And I'm trying to like loosen up, like, oh, okay, have a little shot at work and go, okay. And, you know, I'm kind of like that. So I'm hoping that she, you know, loosens up. Of course, I'm kind of seeing her fill in it a little bit. So I think it'll happen. But she's my favorite right now just because she's going to be completely different at the end of the show.
Okay, that's an interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, me
because I
neither.
feel like of all the characters, she's probably the one that we know the least about or have seen like the least of who she is. So I think that's interesting. What about you, Marie?
I feel like I don't have a favorite yet, so I'm still waiting. Like I like Leonard.
Okay, let me find out you remember her name.
I think just because he's handsome. No.
Girl, did y'all see that toast he ate at the beginning of the episode?
So yeah, that might be it. So I'm still like I need to get a few more episodes in
To
I
really
see,
connect.
like who I like. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Tori?
I'm a little bit with Elle Marie. Sandra Bell is the first character that popped into my head. I like that you said Kate Littlejohn because I liked her at the end of the show. When I first was introduced to her, I was like, I don't like her. But then, like, at the end of the show, I was like, oh, wait, no. Like, okay, I think she might end up being my favorite character, depending on, like, where her storyline goes. But I do like her in the episode. There is another guy, Roger Gunn, the prosecutor.
Oh, right.
I don't know what it is about that man. But I was like, okay.
Power.
I expect you to win. Like,
Right.
it might be the power.
Right, so he was like, okay, here's your case.
Right.
All right, win. It's the power.
It's the power.
Good.
It's the power,
I'm
girl.
here for it. I think I like
Yes.
a mix of a few. Definitely Leonard, probably my favorite. But I really like what's her name?
Allison.
Not Allison, Jill, the like
Carl,
mentor
Carlin.
type different. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
I think her
She's one of my
character is going to be good. I think she'll develop a lot. Yeah. And I think we are getting the chance to see with this show, you know, we get, you know, inclusion and kind of a bit of a mixed cast, but we're seeing like a lot of people that you may not be as familiar with. Did you guys recognize some of the actors from different shows or
Just
Were you kinda-
Sandra. I don't know their real names. So Sandra, I've seen her in a few movies. And Leonard.
Right.
And the main two, I don't know, I guess they're the boss, like the prosecutor and the defense, the two main people. Yeah, them. And then that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I had recognized, so Britt Robertson plays Sandra Bell. There was this show on the CW, if y'all have time to binge watch TV, it was called The Secret Circle, and it was about, do you know what I'm talking about? It was like about these teenagers, and they were witches, and it was so good. It only had like one season, but I was just like, oh my God, this is a hit. So when I saw her, I was like, I know her face. I know her from somewhere. I wasn't familiar with Jasmine Savoy Brown. She plays Allison Adams, the best friend, but she's done work. She's been on The Leftovers. Anybody watches that?
I haven't watched that.
Excuse me. Wissam Kesh plays Jay Simmons. He's an interesting character, the lawyer who is like a defense. He kind of got taken advantage. He wanted to believe in his guy. Lil Jon had to shut him down with the tapes. Yeah. She gave me Bonnie vibes too.
Right. She did. She did.
Ben Rappaport plays Seth Oliver, who is Allison's boyfriend.
Used to be kind of dating, sleeping together.
I can't wait to talk about that.
I was about to say, we're going to get into the subject matter right after this little character breakdown. But I think, he's cool. We'll see. Reggae John Page, he plays Leonard. And I remember him from Roots when they brought back the TV series. He played Chicken George. And I was like, oh my God, who is he? He's so good. He's like charming. He's handsome. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I think he's super duper talented. And then rounding out the cast, we had Susanna Flood, who plays Kate Littlejohn. Hope Davis is Jill Marcus. Anna Devere Smith, who plays Tina Chrisman, I don't know what her title on the show is.
I forgot what she said, but she's
like the
brought them
clerk.
in.
Yeah. I think she has a really interesting character, and she'll be able to do a lot with that. She
reminded me of Miranda Bailey. But just not as me.
She's super acclaimed. She's done everything from Broadway to like activism. And then Ben Schenkman plays your boy Roger Gunn, who they say compared to like Fitz.
Maybe that's why. You're right. I like the power.
That's what the draw is. And then lastly, Bondi Curtis Hall plays Judge Nicholas Bryn, but he played on Daredevil as the Ben, the investigative journalist, if anybody watched that on Netflix. So we got a nice, I feel like, tight-knit cast to work with and to like really see how these characters grow and how they unpack themselves. Now, gearing up to go ahead and talk about the episode and like some of our highlights, I do want to say fun fact before we get into like the news, predictions, and gossip is Sandra and Allison, originally in the pilot, there were two other actresses who played those characters. They ended up coming in and replacing them. So mid-September, I think it was, they had to like reshoot some stuff and like rewrite as far as like making that dynamic.
Interesting.
Okay.
You wanted the dirt, you get in the dirt. You hear me?
Nice.
So it'll really be interesting. I feel like we're getting a fresh start, an even fresher start with the show because of that change, and we get to see like their character dynamic kind of play a role. And I've seen a couple of interviews where they talk about that female empowerment and kind of the relationship that resembles Yang and Meredith.
Exactly. That's
right?
what came to That's what came to mind for me.
Bit. So I saw Kimberly Mayfield's comment in the live chat, and she says, as a law student, this show spoke to me. And Kimberly, I appreciate that because I'm a huge medical show girl, Grey's Anatomy, ER, House, all of them. And I have a lot of friends who are in the medical field who laugh at me because they're like, Tori, that's nothing like this. Like, it's just television and you're not in the medical field. But like, okay, Kimberly, she's in law school, and like, all right, and so maybe there's some alignment.
And I was going to bring that up, like, with other shows that we mentioned, like all the other law shows. And for me, I found myself kind of maybe comparing it to, like, Suits, because I really watched that, and it's about lawyers and things like that. But with this show, it's different because they're starting from the beginning. Because every other law show, they're already developed. They're these powerful lawyers, but now you get it from from where they start.
Yeah.
The very beginning.
That's the beauty of it. Me too.
The underdogs.
Paul knew that was important.
Right.
Kudos to him.
Right.
Yes. And I'm going to actually reach out. I have a few friends that are either in law school, that are lawyers, that are new, just to kind of see. I know they watch shows like How to Get Away with Murder, but like we said, those shows are filled much more with kind of the drama of it, the scandal of it. With this one, we're seeing cases that are, you know, I mean, they're common, but they're still like they're going through that process of like working a case as opposed to doing all the other stuff.
Right.
For now, we'll see.
Because even with How to Get Away with Murder, they're just starting, but they're still students.
Right.
So this you get that first lawyer, like my first case,
Exactly. Big break.
I think it's really important, and it's really relevant to what we deal with now, because if you think about some of the topics that are most important in today's society, it's the millennials or our generation, you know, how different we are from those before us that we, it's funny that I put myself in millennial. I'm not, but I feel like I'm like the last normal
as long
generation.
as you under 40, as long as you under 40, you're a millennial.
I feel like I'm in that good place where I still played outside before the street lights came on, but I also know how to, you know, work a computer. So I'm in that, we're in the sweet spot. But it's so relevant because we talk about now how millennials are just taking over. We are getting promoted faster. We are like all about our money. If we're not at the next position in, you know, 5 years or 2 years or 1 year for that matter, we're freaking out like, oh, okay, where's my promotion? So I think it's, you know, having to make a name for ourselves, and it's so relevant. So I love that piece of it.
Yeah, that's
a good
great
outlet.
Yeah, and just speaking to our generation, because it sounds like we are a bit familiar, I do think the best part about our generation, or the biggest advantage that we have, is we do have that connection to analog and digital. We can write in cursive, we can type. So no other generation is going to get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
So it's
Howard to our generation.
Come through. But to go ahead and jump into the episode, so let's get into, I guess, some of you guys' highlights. I mean, it started with all of them, you know, arriving at the courthouse, the mother court.
Sorry, I thought I had to sneeze. My bad.
I was like, is that it? Like,
I was
dabbing.
Right.
Is she dabbing about her favorite like part of the show?
Highlights? Okay. I did not see that.
I was like, I'm interested to see what her favorite part was.
Right. So rewind it. Pull the tape.
Oh, was it just a sneeze? Okay.
Sorry.
Right.
But in terms of, so your highlights, what were some of the standout moments for you? I thought that the opening with all of them arriving to the courthouse was pivotal because it gave us a glance into who these characters may be, but it also showed like the intent and like this is a big deal for, you know, just starting out and trying to work into your professional, that excitement and familiarity with some of them as well.
I had a couple of them. I think the first one that came to my mind was with Kate. So Sandra was the first one, obviously, to show up at the courthouse. And then Kate came and she was like, Sandra told her it was locked. But I was not expecting Kate to be as respectful as she was. And she was like, well, since you were here first, like, you can go in. And I was like, are people in law really that nice? Like, I feel like...
Not on TV.
Right. I'm like, I feel like she would have been like, she sat by the door. So, I mean, if it were me, you know,
and she even told Leonard as he was, she's like, oh, she was first. She like stand up and go, okay. Strange.
That one. So that was interesting to me. And then also when Sandra decided to, I guess it was like be on duty. Like she took, I was not expecting somebody to step up to the plate that quickly. Nor was I expecting that job or responsibility to be given to her.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I thought that was
once she gave it to her. I think for me it was like, okay, you want it? Let's see how you do it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like a teaching lesson kind of almost.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, she's going to be the one that comes strong out the gate and get her feelings hurt really quickly and kind of like dumb her back down. Like, come on, girlfriend.
You want to be a fighter.
Bring it on back down to this level.
Like your mom tells you want to be grown? Okay, go
go ahead and be grown. That's what you want to do. But I think both of those highlights will show like pivotal pieces of their characters as well. The integrity that Little John is going to have, I think, will bleed through. And then with Sandra, we saw even as the episode progressed, you know, she's got this fight and she wants to be this person and do these good things even against all odds.
One of my favorite parts was again, Little John, maybe I'm just biased, but I love the interaction that her and Leonard had in the restaurant, because they're both so strong, and they both kind of let their guard down. That's, I think, the moment that we saw that Leonard was so insecure as strong. So obviously the people that are so powerful and strong and arrogant, we all kind of know, behind closed doors, they're a little insecure. So I think that was the moment that we found out for Leonard. That was one of my favorites.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off of those two in that moment, I think in the instance where everybody was celebrating afterwards, I really loved where Kate was like, I don't celebrate people going to jail. Because it showed that it wasn't just about her being right or a competition or being the best. Like, she really cares about these things. And even the advice that she had given Jay when she was like, you can be a good lawyer if you wanted to try.
Exactly.
And I thought for Leonard, when he was like, I just want to sit here and, his faces and he's emoting, like having this experience. I thought, okay. I could see it.
Yeah. It showed a little bit of humility with her because she was so kind of strong in the beginning. I really thought she was going to be, the ice queen of the show. But for them to show that so soon,
I didn't like her.
That's why I love her.
Right.
And many levels.
And that's a distinguishing factor from her and Yang. You know what I mean? Like, Yang was very much ice queen. So she's giving ice queen, but polite.
And Yang was my favorite on Grey's Anatomy. So it makes sense. Like, it completely makes sense. Makes sense.
Let's find out you're an ice queen now.
I have to watch the show that Christina is on now. So.
Yeah, that's all food. But speaking of a moment that did bring us a bit of drama or scandal, we'll say, where Allison and Seth. So they go together. They go together or whatever. I didn't like her doing that. Where she decided, okay, so they go together. She's the defense, he's the prosecution, and he lets his bag, and he's like, oh, I'm just doing this to put pressure. And then her fighting for her client is like, oh, I'm gonna use this, even though I know he told me this in confidence. He wouldn't tell anybody else, but this is the only way I can win, so I'm gonna use it.
So
go ahead.
I agree.
We're not gonna gang up on you or anything.
I agree. But, so I agree with you because I didn't like that either. But like, when I saw that, I was like, yes, this is what I think law is. You know what I mean? Like, I was expecting something shady like that to happen. 100% don't agree with it. Yeah. And I don't like Allison.
I would have liked it more if it was somebody she didn't know.
Right. Not somebody who you love.
I gotta disagree.
Come on.
I have to disagree because I think that she was doing it. I think she made the right decision because at the end of the day, where does pillow talk lead you?
True.
And on the other end, she is in this position because she believes in defending the person that may or may not had chosen their path. So I think the person that she was defending, whether she did whatever she did, I think she made the right choice to not let personal life intervene with the law and with doing what that woman deserved. So, proving whether or not she knew about the trade and all this, whatever. I think, Pillow Talk got both of them in trouble because she was pillow talking with her husband, and then she was pillow talking with Seth. So Pillow Talk got them in trouble. Pillow Talk, be careful. But I gotta agree.
I agree with what you're saying right there, because also, when she was talking to Sandra when they were in the bed, she was like, she was like, you would tell me that if it was anyone else, I would do it. Like, I wouldn't hesitate. So for me, it's like, you know what? Yes, this is your relationship. That's your boyfriend, but don't let that come in between your career and what's important to you now. I mean, love is very important, but you're at the very beginning of your career and you're going to be a lawyer. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's just a little day job.
But did it not sound like that wasn't going to be her decision at first, which is why I didn't like it? Like, it did not feel like to me that she was going to turn on him. Yeah. And I don't think she was. That's what made me upset. Like, if that was your first thought from the beginning, like, okay. But it's like you went back on it. Like, that's not really what your heart initially wanted to do.
Conflicted about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, at that point, you're conflicted with, okay, I really love this person. And she needs to ultimately do what's right. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's going to change your morals. Right. I think it came down to that. I think she went into it saying, you know what, I'm going to choose my relationship over, all of this. It's just business. But when it comes to choosing someone that goes against your morals, you don't need to be with that person. You know what I mean? And I'm sure this won't be the end of Allison and Seth. I'm sure we'll see some more of them in the future, and maybe it'll happen again, but I think that's really what it came down to, and why I chose her side over,
I just thought it was a shocking relationship situation to begin with. Like, you guys are on opposite sides of the law, and you're gonna work together.
Right.
Like, it's going to get it's going to get ugly. Like,
how is this gonna turn out? I can respect that. I mean, I definitely get that it was a conflict for her. When it comes to the moral compass, I'm still on the fence, because on one hand, it's like, I get it, I'm fighting for justice, but at what extent am I doing it? If this is somebody that I love and I know their character or whatever the case may be, and I'm willing to trade something that I know was taken, in whatever. What am I trying to say? Yes, in confidence. I'm like, what's the word? Conflict? Something in confidence and using it. Now, I get it. She wasn't using it to hurt him. She did say she knew it was going to destroy him. So I'm fine with her reasoning, but I just feel like that's a decision early on. You have to be mindful of the decision you're making, because that's going to, it could project the trajectory of your career. Like, what kind of lawyer are you going to be? Are you the type that's going to do whatever it takes kind of for your client to win? So we'll see. I think their dynamic is going to be interesting. I'm glad that he did leave, because...
Right. He would have been weak if he didn't.
Yes.
And we already thought he was kind of weak anyway, because he's like, this whole mid-tier thing kept coming up. And it's like, poor guy. He's just trying to make a name for himself. Like, we can't all be born with, silver spoons in our mouths.
Right? Now he's at the bottom of the barrel. We see Leonard took his case away. And, all of that. So
we would have just thought that he was just completely weak altogether. Like, come on.
Listen, he's going to have to get some fight in him on this one.
Grab your cojones and stand up, like something.
But it's good, because that aspect does it gives us insight into a relationship piece for the season, and it gives us a lot kind of where we can go and what to play with. I do see in the chat, Maya Martin asks, who do you think is going to get together?
The obvious.
Who you gonna say?
Who's the obvious?
Leonard and Kate.
Oh, that was the obvious?
That was obvious to me.
Hold on. I was going to say Sandra and
That's
Leonard.
what I was going to say.
But that's what I thought at first. And then when they had that moment when, like, he saw her looking, like, packing up all her stuff in the office, and then he went in there and she said, I don't celebrate people going to jail. I was like, he likes her.
Right.
But
what about, I could see them hooking up.
I could see both.
What about Jay and Kate?
No.
Only think so because he's like...
Jay was the one that she said, like, she kind of like put in his place about, like, you could be a good lawyer if
the client was taking advantage of him. Only because he's like this, I don't know.
If they do hook up, it'll only be a hookup.
It's just one time they were too drunk.
I think Jay will get a crush on Kate, get his feelings hurt because Kate likes the power and the insecurity and the vulnerability of Leonard. But then Leonard might have sex with Sandra, so it'll be this whole thing.
We'll have a moment.
Shonda drama.
That love triangle.
There has to be a love triangle.
It has to come. It definitely has to come. But how big of an impact do you think sex, lies, all of that is going to play on this show? Because we did not get a lot of that at all. Was there any sex in the pilot?
They were some heated kissing. There wasn't any sex, but it almost got there.
I mean, Allison and Seth a little bit like kiss, but that's because they're dating. They were already together, but like no like new relationships.
I think it's gonna come.
It's gonna
I don't think they wanted to hit us right with the sex at the beginning.
I don't think as tough as maybe we're used to seeing.
Right.
So I can kind of see where you're coming from there, but it's definitely gonna happen. I mean, they're young, they're in school, they're around each other 24/7.
And if you like the power, then
stress relief.
Gonna happen.
Now, do you guys think that? Do you think that the boss prosecutor and the boss defense attorney, do you think they hook up or no?
See, I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
But they don't I don't know.
them. They like
weird.
do the baseball games together,
Yeah.
so they have this working relationship. But I don't know if they have a personal situation.
Maybe they're just buddies, you know.
It wouldn't surprise me if they've been married and divorced and they're just like completely making it work. It wouldn't surprise me at all because I think you can definitely tell that she has been through enough and she's like, I don't have time for this.
Right.
Like, I've been there, done that. I don't have time
Yeah.
for relationship. I know that they don't work, but you know, I can get my groove on, so who cares?
So,
can
okay,
happen.
so you think married and divorced, like them together or in general? Because
I
was
wouldn't be
thinking
surprised them together.
Because I think it just might be like friends with benefits, like
Exactly.
that one
Yeah.
that one coworker you just don't marry, but like
Right.
your work. What do they call it? Like your work husband or work wife?
Right.
That's what I think.
Or
it is.
like, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, they're definitely getting it on because they're like, look, you're powerful, I'm powerful.
Right.
We need a release,
Yeah.
but
And
you
it was
know,
just the
we know
way
this
she
is
said
gonna
when
work.
Sandra was like, "Oh, you going to the game with him?" Like,
Right.
no, we don't go together. We just like show up
We
together.
just meet
So it was
there.
like
Right.
the
Like,
way it was something about the way she said that was
Yeah.
like something more within that.
Yeah,
Speaking
what's
of-
really going on here?
Did anybody find it funny how Sandra actually did follow baseball? She had me
yeah.
fooled
Yeah,
from
she
the
I was
beginning.
fooled
Actually.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
So
that was
What was
good.
your point?
Yeah.
Listen, you gotta keep some cards tucked away in that get bag so that when the proper time comes, you can lay it out. So I thought it was
Exactly.
good for her. At first, I didn't think I was gonna like her.
Sandra? Or-
Yeah. Initially, I wanted to like combat her just because of what she represents, kind of this naive like quest for good and all
Yeah.
that. But throughout the episode, I did find things that I like about her. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in watching her, and I think the show is gonna kind of revolve around her
Yeah.
a
yeah.
bit as well.
That's true.
So that's
Yeah.
good to see. Were there any other highlights or moments from this episode?
For me, it was like the beginning scene when the judge comes in and like how we're like comparing it to other Shonda shows.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his speech to them really reminded me of Richard's speech to
To
Meredith and
Meredith,
Karev and them. Yeah, for their
interns,
first
yeah.
day as interns. It was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you guys think they are worthy.
What?
Maybe.
I think they will go through some things
No,
to be worthy.
right?
You
I
gotta
don't know,
earn your
yeah.
stripes, I guess.
Yeah.
They're worthy.
Yeah, I
Why
think
not?
we'll get to see their worthiness show up.
Right.
Some of them right now I feel are worthy. Some of them right
Yeah,
now I
some
feel
of
are
them are
not.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
That's how I feel too.
We'll get a chance.
I just like how
to
he
see.
said that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
It is what it is. But okay, so let's jump into news and gossip now.
AfterBuzz TV News.
You wanted the dirt, you get in the dirt.
Right.
That's your
That's gonna be my
line.
thing.
That's your line.
I mean, you do have the tea literally and figuratively over there, so.
That's gonna be my thing. So, I was trying to do a bunch of research. I mean, the show is super new. And one of the things I like about that is that it's only so much access kind of we have to everything that's going on. But I was able to kind of see a few things. There was an article in Variety with each of the cast members kind of talking. It did let us know that in the second episode of the series, we'll get to go home with Jay. And we'll get to see how his core values align with his family, but get challenged with one of his cases.
Okay.
Yep, and he'll get a deeper dive into like his relationships with both the mentor Jill, head prosecutor, and then Tina, who plays like
Oh, the clerk.
the clerk.
Oh,
So
okay.
excited
That's
excited
cool.
to see
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Because I didn't know. I feel like with it being so new and a pilot, you kind of there's no way to know where we're
Right.
going next.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it could be 0 to 60.
Right.
Who knows? They've already rewritten some episodes
Right.
on
Yeah.
where we headed. So I'm interested to see that next week. I started following, of course, everybody on social media. Leonard, aka Reggae. I like that that's his name. It's spelled R-E-G, but it's pronounced
Is it
Reggae.
Yeah.
I thought it was Roger Jean.
Me too, because of the genre. So I was like, oh.
Roger Jean.
No,
He's like, I watched every video.
I watched because
his
I needed to
right.
hear him pronounce that name.
I watched his audition tapes from 1970.
But keeping up with kind of the tradition of Shondaland and characters and cast of her show, we do see like a political aspect. On Instagram, he had posted, why for the people it's important right now. I could recite the same oath Rex Tillerson, who we know just got outed by Trump from... we're not going to get into the news, but so he was saying that just reminded his colleagues of their responsibility to the country, And he went on to say, more importantly, he has an unexpected, greater understanding than ever before how people he profoundly, passionately disagree with can indeed strive and serve and protect each other in very different ways despite their differences. So on track with the show, and I like seeing people who have a voice, who have an opinion, and who are interested in using their platform for the greater good.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, there was a clip with Allison and Sandra. They were with E! News, and shout out to AfterBuzz TV because there was a few clips of them on the carpet for the people premiere. But they were talking about there was a question that's like with Shonda Land, you know, any crossovers, that sort of thing, and Allison, Jasmine is her name, she was just saying how in her head she would love to do like a How to Get Away with Murder crossover where Viola plays like her aunt who comes to the city and like they battle in court and then they all end up in like a karaoke bar. So I thought that was
that's cute.
I thought that was a super cute story, right?
Jasmine, she played in one episode of Grey's Anatomy in 2017, last year. So
nice.
she kind of has a little like
That
she had a
connection.
very small little like role. So she kind of, I think that's what kind of let her, she made herself be known in a great way, and now she's in this. So
Nice.
Shonda does recycle people.
She will.
I'm just saying, you
She will
got
make
4
it work.
people here, Shonda, that we could play a great, if we had that opportunity.
Okay.
You can recycle all
Let's
day.
make that happen.
I can have a white mama or a black mama or a Latina mama. Feel free.
Listen, we have a few weeks and we can try to make that challenge come true by
Right.
they get renewed for season 2. Who knows?
Right.
We in there.
It's really good.
We in there. That pretty much rounds out the news and gossip for the people. But we do have, of course, news each and every week if you want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life. If you do, there is a great podcast that we do want to recommend for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos. Podcast edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder, Maria Menounos. Clap it up for her.
Yes.
And it drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life, from health and wellness to career and relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you never had. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know it was us, the For the People After Show panel, who got you there. Conversation with Maria Menounos podcast edition. Make sure you check that out.
Absolutely.
All about it. Gotta do it. So, that just goes in line. I feel like with Shonda Land and with the show, it's all about kind of betterment of society, community, these conversations that we need to have. And now we are getting to kind of see more and more in everyday life and in Hollywood, on television and film.
Absolutely.
So I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Let's see, there's another comment. We had a few people in the chat. Kimberly Mayfield, Maya Martin, Ryan L. Wizard, Ryder, Thomas. Hey. What's poppin'? What's poppin'? You guys are just in time because I do want to get into predictions. I know we said it's the pilot. It's going to be difficult.
It's tough.
But it's only right.
It's only right.
It's only right. Now, predictions. Do y'all want to limit it to episode 2, or are y'all going to give a generic prediction
I'm just
for
gonna
the
go for 2.
Right. Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
Yeah.
Good, because that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yes.
Just gonna go.
Okay.
There.
Who wants to start?
She's gonna kick it off because I think we're all so like.
I don't even know if we really have much.
And I tried to think about this a little bit, but I was just like, I don't know. I feel like I need at least one more.
I'm kind of the same way.
One more in me.
One more. The only thing I can say is I think, like we mentioned before with Allison and Seth, we'll see more of that, and I think they'll bring them back right away. Like, so next episode we'll see them talking about it, maybe a big blow up fight, or maybe they're like trying to figure out how can they make this work, being on opposite ends of the law. But I think we'll definitely see them. Of course we're gonna see him, but see them together again next episode.
Nice.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, it's really hard for me to make a prediction, but I am really interested to see kind of where Sandra and Allison are in their relationship. Like, how close are they? Especially when they were on the bridge and then Allison was like, you know what, I know you said it was only temporary, but how about you live with me, like, for real, full time? It's free. And I was like,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm interested in their relationship.
Okay, fair enough.
I think especially since we've seen what Allison can do to the people that is close to her. So,
Right.
you know, and it's never easy to live with someone. So that's interesting. That's a really good point. I think we will see more people break down.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe we'll see a little bit of, you know, Leonard finally cracking a little bit. I think we'll see a weak side of a couple more people. And I think some people that we're not expecting, like you said, Jay, will actually get a little bit more of his storyline. I really hope that, you know, we do see a little side of Jay that we can see to kind of root for him. So
Yeah, nice. I think those are pretty good. I don't think that we see anything too far from me. For me. So I do think that we'll see some changes with Leonard. I do think he'll be a little more sensitive or compassionate to the others. I think as the show progresses, his arc is going to be kind of around the line between prosecution and defense. I think that's going to weigh on him at some point. I also want to see Kate more. We got to see her a little bit in court, and we get to see like this kind of representation of who she is. But I want to get into like who she is and get to know her. Like you said, the relationship between Allison and Sandra, I'm sure it's going to blossom, especially with her man being gone.
For now.
And replace with her in the house the next day. Yeah. So that'll be good. And let's see. I know that all of the cases are like big cases. So I am hoping to see maybe a little bit of dirt, a little bit of scandal. I don't care who it comes from, but I am interested in seeing some dirt.
Okay.
Some dirt. Let's see it.
Okay.
So I think those
That's
are
a good point.
Keith is all about the dirt. Just FYI.
He's like, my cup is out of tea. I need to refill.
I'm not all about the dirt, but if you wanted the dirt, you get in the dirt. So we'll see. I mean, I'm super duper excited. Like I said, this is a brand new show. This is a great panel. I think we'll have a great season. So I'm looking forward to next week. We know the show is Tuesdays at 10, but you can meet us here Thursdays at 10 p.m. It'll be what else is on for Shonda Land?
Grey's
Grey's
Anatomy.
Hold on, not everything. How to Get Away with Murder had their finale.
Oh, yes, they sure did.
Grey's
Grey's is still on.
Child is recorded. I'll be watching that late tonight or early in the morning.
Okay. So Grey's Station 19 is
Station
about to
19
start.
starts next week.
Yeah.
Next week, so that'll be on.
Because I was wondering how Station 19 was going to start. I didn't realize it was the season finale for How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, good. So we still have Shondaland to watch, but let's make this a priority.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see anything
Shonda
else.
Tuesdays.
New TV shows are great and love new shows, says Ryan. Exactly.
They
I think
are.
it's always
refreshing. Yeah.
It is.
and it's fun because you get a chance to like get into something early on. Whereas we've talked in the past about like Grey's Anatomy I watched and then I fell out and so I don't know where I am. Or Tori couldn't keep up with How to Get Away with
But
Murder.
I know where I am. I am season 4, episode 3.
El Marie don't know nobody's name on TV. And we can see she's going to expose herself shortly as well.
I'm not gonna lie, I was very, Grey's Anatomy every Thursday. I've for 10 years strong, and then when I graduated college, I was like, ugh, I moved, and then I got a real, job, and I'm like,
real life.
And then we talked about this earlier. I didn't pay for Netflix and all that good stuff,
my God.
so I had to get caught up, and then I found a friend. So I'm there
You just
now.
have to make it happen.
I got Hulu, so all this is gonna happen.
Right?
Hey.
It's gonna be
I'm here
good.
for it. Okay, and before we go, so let's grade the episode. I think each week we're going to come up with a game. Okay. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But for this week, let's kind of grade it. For a pilot on a grading scale, A to F.
I give it a B.
I think I'm going to give it a B too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was better than a C. It was better than average.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They
Look.
put in some
I'll
effort.
give it a B minus.
Yeah.
Minus. Okay. Yeah.
I would say B minus.
Oh,
If
okay.
it's a curve, if we grading on a scale, if we grading on a scale, it's a B plus.
Right.
If it's a
nice.
scale, but I am
I'm excited.
excited to see where we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So you sitting at 84 right now?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
84, because you have like the 80. Yeah, that's right.
85.
Yep, 85
It's like
is
that
the-
B plus, like official B plus.
Listen,
You
there's
sitting at
always room
84.
for improvement. How about that? Okay, so we'll take the B this week. But again, you guys can join us next week, Thursday night at 10 p.m. I am Keith Andre. You can follow me all over social media at Keith_Andre. Let's keep the conversation going.
And I'm Tori Broussard. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tori_Broussard.
And I'm El Marie. You guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at El Marie TV.
And I'm Takira Shabrae. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Takira_Shabrae. I'm also on The Alienist on Mondays and Timeless, another new show on Wednesdays. Season 2, but still
new.
Yeah.
Excited. Well, we'll talk more next week. See you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.